for O'Connors. Excellent.
Okay, babe.
Okay, so here we are. These is the ones that we're going. We've just been to the Black Sheep. Saw some great World Cup action over there. Now we're on to O'Connors. Okay, we have an excellent banner here. Bloomsday. There we go, some distinguished friendlies coming out of this establishment.
What a wonderful day, huh? Let's hear for Brooklyn. How did it take this long for Brooklyn to have its own Bloomsday? That's a crime. But that's over now. So we are now going to do an episode, section from episode 12, The Cyclops. This takes place in Barney Kiernan's pub about 5 p.m. There are 3 characters in today's, in this episode we're going to be focusing on now. The narrator, this is the first episode that Joyce introduces a third-person narrator. Doesn't tell us his name, but we know that this is Joyce's father who's narrating this whole episode. Declan Walsh will be playing the role of the narrator. Let's hear it for Declan.
Wait till after.
The 2 characters that are introduced in this episode, the first is, ironically, Joe Hines. Our own Joe Hines, district attorney, will be playing the role of Joe Hines. Joe Hines is a reporter for a newspaper. He seldom buys a drink for anyone. The narrator is perplexed about this and thinks this is a wondrous day that Joe Hines is in fact standing everybody to a drink, so that you'll hear that if you listen attentively. And the third character is the citizen. The citizen is modeled after Michael Cusack, who at the turn of the last century founded the Gaelic Athletic Association in Dublin, which was to reinvigorate Irish sports, hurling and the like, as opposed to the British sports that were foisted upon the Irish. Michael Cusack is referred to as the citizen. Michael Cusack tends to hang out in pubs and waits for people to come and adore him and buy him pints, and that's what he'll be doing in this scene as well. Michael Cusack will be played by the Honorable Judge Bernard Graham. Bernie Graham, a member of the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. This takes place at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're a few hours early. So, with that...
And we're on to Barney Kiernan, says Joe. I want to see the citizen.
Barney Mover is beer, says I. Anything strange or wonderful, Joe?
Not a word, says Joe. I was up at a meeting at the City Arms.
What was that, Joe? Says I.
Cattle traders, says Joe, about the foot and mouth disease. I want to give the citizen the hard word about it.
So we turned into Barney Kiernan's, and there, sure enough, was the citizen up in the corner having a great conflab with himself and that bloody mangy mongrel Gary Owen. And he waiting for what the sky would drop in the way of a drink. There he is, says I, in his glory hole, with his Crushkin lawn and his load of papers, working for the cause. The bloody mongrel let out a grouse out of him would give you the creeps. Be a capital work and mercy if someone would take the life out of that thing. I thought for a fact he ate a good part of the breeches of a constabulary man in Santry that came round one time with a blue paper about a license.
Stand and deliver, says he.
That's all right, citizen, says Joe. Friends here.
Pass, friends, says he. What's your opinion of the times?
I think the markets are on a rise, said he, sliding his hand down the fork.
Foreign wars is the cause of it.
And he says Joe, sticking his thumb in his pocket, it's the Russians wish to tyrannize.
Harry, give over your bloody cotton, Joe, says I. I've a tourist on me wouldn't sell for half a crown.
Give it a name, citizen, says Joe.
Wine of the country, says he.
What's yours, says Joe.
Jitto McAnasby, says I.
3 pints, Terry, says Joe, and has the old heart, citizen, says he.
Never better. Akara, says he. What, Gary? Are we going to win, eh?
I may never speak to Jim Ryan again. The figure seated on a large boulder at the foot of a round tower was that of a broad-shouldered, deep-chested, strong-limbed, frank-eyed, red-haired, freely freckled, straggly, shaggy-bearded, wide-mouthed, large-nosed, large-headed, deep voiced, bare-kneed, brawny-handed, hairy-legged, ruddy-faced, sinewy-armed hero. From shoulder to shoulder he measured several ells, and his rock-like mountainous knees were covered, as was likewise the rest of his body, wherever visible, with a strong growth of tawny, prickly hair in the hue and toughness similar to the mountain gorse. The wide-winged nostrils, from which bristles of the same tawny hue projected, were of such capriciousness that within their cavernous obscurity the field lark might have easily lodged her nest. The eyes, in which a tear and a smile strove ever for mastery, were of the dimensions of a good-sized cauliflower. A powerful current of warm breath issued at regular intervals from the profound cavity of his mouth, while rhythmic resonance in loud, strong hail reverberations of his formidable heart thundered drummingly, causing the crown, the summit of the lofty tower, and still loftier walls of the cave to vibrate and tremble. He wore a long, unsleeved garment of recently flayed oxhide, reaching to his knees in a loose kilt, and this was bound about his middle by a girdle of plaited straw and rushes. Beneath this he wore strews of deerskin, roughly stitched with gut. His nether extremities were encased in high balbriggan buskins, dyed in lichen purpose, the feet being shod with brogues of salted cowhide, laced with the windpipe of the same beast. From his girdle hung a row of sea stones, which jangled at every movement of his portentous frame.